Hello, everyone. Well, it has begun. What has begun? Well, let me tell you. So, Yeshua had said, well, let me go back here. So, we all know that, or we should know by now, that Yeshua is Jehovah manifested in the flesh. So, when I say Yeshua, Yeshua wasn't created yet because Yeshua is the flesh that housed the Spirit of Jehovah. So, let me restart that so that way you don't get confused. Jehovah had said that he will appoint shepherds to tend to his flock, to take care of his flock, to guard them, to feed them, and in general just, look after them until he returns. And this was in response to all the priests and teachers that were just not caring for the people of Jehovah. Well, then we go to Yeshua when he was ministering on earth. There are just countless examples where he told the priests that, the Levites, the Pharisees, Sadducees, all those people that were supposed to be teaching about Jehovah, giving his truth out, but instead they kept on giving their truth, their doctrine. And they made it so that their word superseded Jehovah's. Because they would add to and they would take away from Jehovah's word. Well, because of this, he said that, I'm going to destroy this temple. And, he did indeed destroy the temple because there was no truth in it. Well, this time that we're in, you will see a lot of ministries go, I don't want to say under because that denotes that they're just having money problems, but you will see a lot of ministries dissolve. People will say they're taking breaks, and I'm betting that there's going to be a huge portion of these ministries that are taking breaks, so on and so forth, that they'll not be around much longer. Why? Because it was said that, he, Jehovah, will appoint shepherds over his flock. Because the hirelings have vamoose. They've said adios and peace out, hope you're good, and they're going to take care of themselves. Why? Jehovah said so. Because they don't care about the flock. They care about it enough to get money and pretty much fleece the flock. In other words, take all the benefits, but not give anything back to the flock. The people that they're supposed to be caring for. The ones that they're supposed to love. But, these pastors and preachers, evangelists, all these people, they've been appointed by man. At no point did Jehovah ever say, you go. Because if they had, they would not have abandoned the sheep, Jehovah's people. They would not have abandoned them. And why did they do it? Well, they insisted that they had other things they had to do. I heard one guy today say that because of the evil that's coming on the earth, he is going to pretty much go into hiding. So that way he's not exposed to the evil, where he's having to deal with things that are coming on the earth. Apparently he has some land, and he's been kind of storing things up. Well, to those people that are just dead set on not involving themselves with the world, on those people, things will come. You're not going to be able to hide from anything that's coming on the earth. You're not going to. And I will tell you that while there are a lot of things that are potentially, scary or frightening or terrifying, whatever adverb you want to use, maybe they're adjectives. I don't know what they read in English. I was in AP classes all through school, but I never really had to write a whole lot. And back when I learned, all the nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, all that was like back in 4th and 5th grade, so I don't remember that. So anyway, all these people are looking out for themselves. And, it was talked about before, it was prophesied. And this time that we're entering is coming where we will see a lot of people disappear. And it will be so bad that people will stop even mentioning the Bible. Why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid for their lives. And I will say here and now that I will not be one of those people. Why? Because that's just not what I was put here to do. I was put here to give you the truth, and if someone doesn't like it, well, I don't know what to tell you, because the truth is the truth. I'm one of the few people that you'll find on here that I'll tell you the truth even if it means cut my own hand off. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not even going to sugarcoat anything, because sugar's bad for you. It causes you to get fat and lazy. I know, because I've been there. Both physically and spiritually. You do not need someone telling you that it's okay to do this or it's okay to do that. And, essentially they're telling you that it's okay for you to not listen to what Jehovah said. Never, ever is that okay. Because that spirit that's behind that thought, that sentiment, it's straight from the devil. He will lie to you to get you to turn your back on the truth. Now, does that mean that there are going to be countless people that are following the truth? And no, there's not. There is a time coming very soon that you're going to have to prove your love. And that time is going to be extremely just chaotic on this earth. And during this time, people will have to see, hold on. Okay. So there will be a time when you will have to give your life to prove your love for Yeshua. And you know what? That's a privilege. Why? Because it was Yeshua that gave his life for all those that he loved. Why is it such a terrifying thought for us to give our life for one person? To show our love for the one person that sacrificed his flesh for the love of all of us. Now, I know that there's some of you that say, oh, well, I won't have to die. I'll get taken in the rapture. If you've anything to say to that statement I just made, and you believe it wholeheartedly, please go watch my other videos and hear how I feel about that and what the Lord says about it. Just kind of to sum everything up, there is no rapture. I'm sorry. The Lord will protect those who are his. It doesn't matter. It could be raining fire and brimstone, and if you belong to him, nothing's going to happen to you. You will be completely okay. He was able to keep the children of Israel from having to go through the plagues of Egypt. And what makes you think that he is unable to keep one hair on your head from going gray or turning your entire head gray? He is in control of absolutely everything. So please do not think that you have to run away to some safe place. Do not think that. If you belong to him and you've given everything over to him, then you have nothing to fear. Not at all. He will always be with you, and he will never turn his back on you. He will never say, there was that Johnny that, oh man, he just got away from me. He's never going to say that. Why? Because he's perfect, and he is in absolute control of everything. There's nothing that is out of his control. That atom that just whizzed by your head, guess what? He knew exactly where it was going to go. He told it not to hit you. So do not think that he is unable to keep you safe. Just be aware of that. And I say that, and there's a wreck right there because someone ran a stoplight. And kind of prime example there. Whenever things happen on the earth, we are completely capable of being protected from everything. It wouldn't matter if the entire town you lived in just burst into flames. Guess what? If you belong to him, you're not going to be touched. You will walk through those flames, and you will be completely okay. He has never went back on his word, and his own word said that he will never leave you nor forsake you. In other words, he's not going to let anything happen to you. So please do not think that you have to have to get out of here before things happen. You know what? If there's a choice, let me be here. Why? Because I want to make sure that everyone that is having to go through all this, I want to make sure that they know the truth. Because if it's left up to everyone that has ministries now, then, oh good Lord, no one's ever going to hear the truth at all. So if I have to, be left behind, great. That means that everyone that's lying and telling lies will be gone. And, it says that there will be a famine of the Lord's word. Well, that's going on now. Because how many people do you hear telling the truth? Just almost very, very little. A very, very little amount of people. And it's sad, for sure. I mean, without a doubt. It's extremely sad. And it's even sadder that everyone is continuing to just listen to it and just flock to it because, their preacher said that, well, you don't have to go through all this. You're going to be out of here. And if you have to be here, then you didn't make it. You weren't good enough. None of us are good enough at all. And, do not let anyone tell you that, that you're gonna you have to keep on sinning because you're human. You don't have to. Will we? More than likely. But it's not a thing that you have to do. You don't have to sin. If the Lord can keep you from sinning for 5 seconds, then He can keep you from sinning for an hour. If He can do an hour, He can do it for the rest of your life. If He can do it for 1 second, then He's capable of keeping you clean and spotless until He returns. But on the other side of that, when you belong to Him, you have a target painted on you. And essentially what that target is, it's light. It is light that comes from Jehovah that shines through you so that you are the light in the darkness. I know that, there's probably a couple people that will give you some weird interpretation of what Yeshua said in that aspect. But the light that we have is His glory in our lives. Now I ask you, what happens if you go put a light bulb out in a field? The longer you leave that light on, the more bugs, the more moths that you're going to have surrounding that light. And if you go up to that light, there's going to be bugs everywhere. That's essentially what happens in the spiritual world. When you are given that breath of life, that does not come from you saying a little prayer and some man telling you, oh, well, congratulations, you're saved. No. That is not the way it works. I'm sorry. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is not like that. And please go watch my other videos if you, again, have something to argue against that. I will not tell you anything that is not from the Bible. And you can believe me or not, or you can just go read the book. and go fact check me. You know, if you're insistent that what I'm saying is wrong, then go look it up, put it in the comments, stay in your position. And if you watch this and you go, oh well, oh he's just crazy or whatever, cool. That means that you have completely just turned away from the truth. And there's nothing I can do. I'm just telling you what the book says. A good friend of mine had once said, go ask Ben. He'll tell you how the cow eats the cabbage. And, that's right. Thanks, Cletus. I've used that saying quite a bit. That, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to tell you that, someone came by and just opened the gate for the cow and he went into the garden. I'm going to tell you that the cow went through the fence because you were too lazy to take care of the fence. So the cow walked through it and he destroyed the garden. I'm not going to get anything out of telling you a story about it. And, what that is, it's lying to you. If I was to tell you that, I would be lying to you. I would be no better than all these other people that have these ministries on here and are leading you away from the truth. Now, I'm sorry to have to burst your bubble on that, but that's the way it is. I don't hold any man in regard. I do not. If you're wrong, guess what I'm going to tell you? I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. Will you like it? No, you won't. Because I seem to have a lack of a filter on telling people that they're wrong. And, if it's something wrong with your doctrine that you're going around telling people, guess what? I will pull out 1,000 scriptures telling you that you're wrong. And you can, come back with a scripture or two saying you're right, but you're arguing against Jehovah at that point. You were trying to tell him that he's wrong. And all I have to say to that is, I feel for you. I really do. See, a long time ago, when I was a kid, I went to church, and I believe it was 1993, and I dedicated my life to the Lord. I didn't know him, but I knew he had something that I wanted. And it wasn't until, let's see, when was that? 2012? Yeah. December 2012 was when I received the breath of life. And I became a little babe. And at that time, man, you couldn't pry my Bible out of my hands. I was studying it. I was learning so much. And I had a pastor that he was a non-English speaker. He spoke Spanish just fine, and there was just something about it. He told me, he was like, one day you're going to be a preacher. I said, okay. Because I wanted everyone to know the truth. I was having so many dreams that the Lord was giving me, and trying to tell people, and they're like, oh yeah, okay. And I was like, well, alright, well, you don't believe me. But those dreams I had, a lot of them were dealing with the situation at the time. Yeah, they all came true. Every single one of them came true. And a lot of them were letting me know about the situation with religion and the churches and so on and so forth. Just chaos. Absolute chaos. There's not a whole lot you can do at that point, but, I was trying to let people know what was going on. They laughed. Okay, well, whatever. And ever since then, I've been studying, and there was probably about 3 or 4 years that I didn't study at all because I couldn't find any truth. And if I don't have truth, if I'm not hearing truth, I don't want to hear it at all. Well, I finally found someone who had set me on the path. And ever since then, I've been learning by leaps and bounds and understanding a lot. And it's come with a price. Paul had said that he had a thorn in the flesh. He did not have a physical infirmity. He was an extremely healthy person. But his flesh kept coming against him. You see, when we have that spirit, that breath of life from Jehovah that enters into us, there's a point where that new spirit that he puts inside you, that breath, it grows and it matures. And at some point, you actually recognize that you're not one person. And hold on, let me explain this to you. Your flesh is what you see. It's what you see watching me. Now, what you hear is the spirit that is inside me. Because my flesh is rotten, and it is always up to no good. It doesn't want to listen to the spirit at all. And when we're tired, when we're weak, that's when the flesh decides that it wants to rise up. And you can do one of two things. You can let it, or you can fight it down. Because it is your battle. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood, and that being other people. We wrestle in our mind, because our flesh wants to take control of our mind. It wants to say what happens. And once you get to the point where you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. And essentially you're fighting against your flesh and all just the wickedness that it wants to do. And we have to be strong. Why? Because we're commanded to. And our weakness is when we are strong. And we can only get through that weakness by turning to Yeshua. It's the only way. Now I want you all to know that we are in this flesh. We are always on the lookout to make sure that this flesh does not ruin our life. because this flesh wants to follow the devil and wants to fall in line with him because it's easy and it's fun and we can go do whatever we want. But you see, our spirit, our mind, where our battleground is, it almost comes down to a battle of wills. Is this the will of the spirit going to be stronger, or is the will of the flesh going to be stronger? And I ask that you seriously look at this, idea, because this is the level that we have to fight on. When we are introduced to things in this world, we have to put ourselves away from it, but not run and hide from it. We have to recognize it, deal with it, and move on. If we continue to live according to our flesh, we will reap the punishment that the flesh will receive. And in the end, the flesh will be destroyed. There's absolutely nothing that we can do that will save us from them. And I just ask that you look at your life and see if the way you're living is something that is acceptable to Jehovah. So I'm going to get off here, and I want you to know that no matter what, Jehovah is always there for you. And if you have questions, just ask. I essentially have nothing better to do than to look at what the Lord's given me and keep going with it.